everybody, John here. It is way too early in the morning. I am on my way to meet up with some fellow explorers from Arizona Backcountry Explorers and other groups. We're going to be heading deep into the Bradshaws for a 2-day adventure. I've already had my first casualty, which is the door handle, the outer door handle to the passenger side of the Jeep decided it wanted to brake on the inside, so I can't open the Jeep door from the outside. I can still get into it from the inside, so that's, you know, at least that's not going to slow me down. So here we go. I need coffee. Well, once again, our adventure is taking us into the Bradshaws, up above Lake Pleasant. I'm second in line of a group of, I think, 8 vehicles this time. So this little adventure is a little bigger than I had expected, and that's a good thing. There's not only safety in numbers, but there's a lot of fun to be had in numbers too. So we're going to keep cruising along. Well, we're on dirt now. That's a good start. Well, the gang all just aired down, so I dropped down to about 25 pounds. Everybody else dropped down to about 20. So we'll see how this goes. I'm being told this is a somewhat technical run. I guess we'll find out. Just a few seconds of kind of showing the early stages of this as we head down the road next to the river bottom. Actually, where I'm at right now is where the very first episode that I did, episode 1. So it's kind of funny how I've come full circle, but in this case we'll be going in a different direction, because on that episode, that was the one where I eventually wound up in Morristown, but I found the old Ford truck that had gone off the edge of the cliff, and the old Volkswagen Beetle. So it'll be fun to see another part of this. Now right up here is the old and now being renovated Castle Hot Springs Resort. And it looks like they're coming along just fine on this. Hard to see in the distance, but as we come around this, look at this place that's got all these palm trees up here. Definitely something that was set up as another resort way back in the day. Check this out. The stone fence on the left hand side, all these palm trees on the right hand side. This is definitely a nice ranch. Somebody owns it again. They're already working it right now. We can only hope that they'll keep the road access, which they probably have to, because other people would have to get back to their own property. But still, it's getting harder and harder to find ways back in here. We are just now turning on to Buckhorn Road, so this is where it starts to get a little more interesting. Well, it's nice to see that there's some water. Definitely some old buildings up here. All still privately owned, but there's been enough rain and snow that there's water flowing down the river. That's kind of cool. Kind of turning out to be a water adventure right now. Alright, we've hit some somewhat dry dirt. Mill. And we've been trading places with a side-by-side group. So this area still gets a lot of use. And we made our first wrong turn of the day. So now people are trying to get turned around. It is definitely starting to get more fun now. A little rock crawling. Well, there's something metal right there in the... Huh, something didn't make it. Alright, back to fairly smooth ground. We get to go through a nice little box canyon here. I love box canyons. And somebody graffitied it. Well, that just sucks. At least it's Snoopy and Charlie Brown. Nice little caves here. This is really... Oh, look at that. A little spire right in the middle of nowhere. A little more technical as we go. I just did some bigger rocks than that, but I was more concentrating on driving than turning the camera on. Oh. We're just crawling along. I'm still in 4 high, so that's not so bad, and everybody seems to be making it so far. There is one Jeep with a trailer, so that makes it interesting for him. But the caravan continues. And we are still climbing. Always impressed with how pretty it is. Some people that don't like the desert would probably disagree, but uh-oh, fork in the road. And a fairly steep descent. Not horrible, but you can tell how he's rocking it. Well, there goes my camera bag. This is definitely a little steeper and a little tighter. Now, depending on how we get out of here, climbing back out will be even more fun, because then you're finding gravity in the loose rocks. And now we get to go over some washout. This is a little steep and a little tight. and more of the same. Except we're going a long way downhill now, and then I see another uphill. This is definitely an overland adventure. Well, the good news is I got it to actually go in 4 low finally. I was doing all of this in 4 high so far, and that made for interesting rock crawling, but I'm in 4 low now, so that's good. Hopefully I'll be able to get it out later, but that's going to make the rest of this trip a lot easier, I think. I kind of feel a little bit like a mountain goat. Just slowly crawling along the edge of a cliff on one side or the other, rocking back and forth, trying to sort through the best path. Looks worse from the driver's seat, so whoa. That was worse from the driver's seat. This is Bradshaw's grave, who this mountain range is named after. This is one of the places I've been wanting to go to for quite a while, and this is the first time that I've made it up here.
Yeah, it's just before, it's between the South Central Center of the highway and the city.
I've seen it on the map. I see that.
Finally made it to Bradshaw's grave. It's one of the many things that I've been wanting to do up here in the Bradshaws. Here's a view of the quite a few people that we actually have here. We've all made it so far. Leaving Bradshaw's grave, straight up another rock climb. Side here, as we're heading on along, is this old, looks like an old corral. Old water tanks up there. Really cool. Idea how steep it is. Well, we stopped temporarily because there's some mine works up here. Saw some mine works back to the other direction where that red Jeep is, which is not part of our group. Freeway here because that is a different group coming back the opposite direction. Well, I've got a mine close by, so I'm going to go do what I do best. Head up there. Broken away from the group, you can see where the Jeeps are. I'm working on this mine tailing right here, and you can definitely see the different coloration where they've worked this mineral pile. So I'm going to keep making my way up and see what's up there. I know I'm breathing heavy. This has been definitely uphill. They might have been working this vein work. I don't see a mine, but that's a lot of tailings. So I'm going to climb the rest of the way up to this and do a 360. I know there's a mine below me. That's where the rest of the group is. But I always like to check out the ones that are a little harder to get to if anything's there. Always there's a crap load of wind, but I'm on top and you can see the pressure ridge down there. But I don't see a mine, not on this side. Be down here. Look at the old wood. And there's almost looks like two telephone poles that used to be stacked side by side with a big bolt that goes through it, and that looks like a square bolt, so that would make this really old. Around the back side, I don't know if the rest of the group made it this far. You got an old structure right here, and you got a shaft that's really deep. And if you get too close, you'll definitely go in because the fence is just hanging loose where the ground is collapsed. You know, all this old pipe work here too. And more collapsed mine right there. Way cool. And you've got an old stone building here too as I skitter my way down the rocks. Well, this was definitely a hard-worked mine. All right, I'm gonna make my way back to the Jeeps. Oh, look at that. Stone fortress or stone walls to hold everything. That's cool. Definitely tight and narrow. Definitely not turning around anytime soon, not this way. Now, not back very far from where I was. There was an adit in the side of this wash, and I don't think Kevin saw it. So, future reference, got more places to explore. Well, this has definitely been interesting. We've all made it so far, but this is getting worse and worse. You have to watch some of the other people's videos where everybody gets a different perspective. Yep. Playing on some pretty interesting stuff. It's a blind hill. You can't see what the heck's going on. Oh, sweet. Okay, that one's navigated. This thing just does not stop. I know I've said this in a few other videos, but I do love my Jeep. It is old, 30 years old as a matter of fact, this year. But still hangs with all the modern Jeeps with all their technology. And I've got nothing against the new Jeeps. I mean, they're nice, but this has been good. Looks like another little bit of a technical descent here. And I don't see anybody behind me, so I'm getting a little concerned for the rest of the crowd. I don't even have to talk. It's easy to see how this is going. I mean, we're still making it. feet apart. Another little bit of rock crawling fun coming up. Yep, you've got the right line there. Maybe. Okay, through. This doesn't look fun at all. Well, that's one way to do it. And even more. Well, I lost the person behind me. It's definitely a matter of just picking your best path through the boulders. I really slammed one a little bit ago. I'll have to check out the back of the Jeep and see what I hit. Assuming on my departure angle that I hit a boulder on my bumper, but we'll see. Up this trail to where it's supposed to be a huge mine site area, and there's this old airstream here. It doesn't look like it's been occupied in forever. That is so strange. It's got a padlock on it, so maybe State Trust uses it. That's creepy. And there's the dozer. I don't know how long ago this was used, but that lock looks fairly recent. Look at this equipment. This is a major operation down here. And these things have not run in many, many years. The tires are dry rotted and cracked. You get this really old shed, like a miner shed. Huh, that's weird. There's still food in there. Charcoal briquettes, a couple of tires. A&W root beer that's still in there. I was looking to see if I saw any newspapers or anything that's got a date on it. Yeah, it's really old. This is almost like a, it's got VHS. Like a miner shack, but look how much dirt is in the corner. So it's been a while. Got this old John Deere here, and they put it up on railroad ties to keep it from sinking into the mud. Also put a tarp over the motor. So the question is, where's the mine? Old 1.5 tires, well, bigger than that. Oh, it's over here. They excavated right here, but they're probably looking for open pit. Let's see what else I can find. Got an old tank. This was the outhouse. Outhouse if you need it. Yep. Pretty decent setup. Okay, we got this really old mill up here in this same area. Hasn't been used in a long time. Check out the cactus up in the top of it. And we'll get some different views of this, but all of this looks like it was surface mining. Plus you got some more over that way. So, more to look at. Sifts out the big rocks, goes up the conveyor, into the tank where it tumbles the tank, and then down the conveyor over to the other end. Down here where you've got a trough, you have more equipment down here. So, this was quite an operation. General consensus by everybody here, based on our experience, is that this was probably what they call the UFO mine. A date was found on a container that says 1990, so that would be 26 years since this was worked. Wow, look at the size of this generator. Again, it's just amazing how much equipment was left out here to just disintegrate. The colors and variations of everything in this rock that's in this tailings that was pulled off of this are really interesting. A lot of variety here. A long way back you just find a pile of miscellaneous machinery. Clear flow valves, Berkeley, California. The amount of money that was just abandoned here, it's pretty staggering. Those big industrial caterpillars, those are in the tens of thousands of dollars just by themselves. And all of these generators and pumps, and it's just crazy. Camp is basically set up for me. I don't need a lot. I might throw out my table, put a couple more blankets in there because it's going to be chilly. But I'm close to the water. No, not a cloud in the sky. So I doubt very seriously if we're going to get any weather. And even if we did, it would be down there first and I would hear it coming. And the Jeep's up on high ground and I can get even higher ground if I need to. So I'm going to wander down to where all the rest of the people are and see what they're doing. And we're spread all throughout the woods. You got some up there, you got some up here, and I'm furthest away. But it's a good camping area. Got the water flowing right next to us. Well, good morning. It's day 2, and I can honestly say that I actually have my sleeping arrangements dialed in really good, because this, even though it's probably in the upper 20s where I'm at, it is been really warm in my sleeping bag and sleeping arrangements. Inside of my tent, the sun is coming up right next to the river. But you really can't. You can see right down there. And we're going to go make some breakfast, get in with the other people, and see what today's adventure is. Okay, we are headed back out the way we came. At until we get to Bradshaw's grave area, and then we head a different direction. All that cold water and ice in the back is going to be annoying, but I got a roll bar that if I get slammed, at least it's not going to keep it hit me, but you're going to hear some noise when we're talking. Okay, adventure continues. Day 2. This little flow of water going into the Hacienda River is making this more interesting getting out because of the tires starting to slip on the mud. But we're slogging our way through. This is going to be a long trip out because if you remember the first part of the video, there was some stuff that was steep and some stuff that was really screwed up, like that pipe that we went over. We got this huge mine shaft that they're dropping. Did it hit bottom?
Yeah, there's
Why don't you guys rappel down or winch line somebody down in there?
That's what we were talking about doing.
Yeah.
A nice view of the caravan of Jeeps and others going through the rocks on our way out. Definitely remember this coming in. This was some steep off-angle, off-camber stuff. So, but I'm like 5th back this time, 6th back, and everybody's making it. So, no issues. I just need to follow their tracks. The morning view of the horizon is awesome. Really beautiful. Fearless leader Kevin is elected to take a different trail back. So this ought to get a lot more interesting, if nothing else. Now, one odd thing that I didn't mention is the folks that are in the Jeep right in front of me. You talk about odd and strange things happening. The owner of the Jeep is somebody that I have not seen since junior high school, and we did not keep up with each other at all. Yet we ran into each other out here on this run. And he recognized my last name and I recognized his. And we started comparing notes and found out that, you know, we were childhood friends and spent the night at each other's houses and went to school together all the way through junior high. So this was one of those cases of definitely very, very small world. Another steep descent, but you should be able to see off in the camera off to the left hand side that view of that river. Really kind of cool. In a new part of the Bradshaws that I haven't been to, and we're still climbing and twisting. It's been a pretty drive. I have seen one mine that we didn't stop at. We're supposed to be headed to another one right now. Interesting shot of what we're going through here. Now I'll give it to the guy that's 2 Jeeps up, because he's hauling a trailer. So he's like having a boat anchor on the back of it. Well, we're all kind of bottlenecked up here, but I think he was just stopping to make sure everybody made it. And it might have been because of this little off-angle corner here. This is never a good sign. At least for them.
Surprised somebody hasn't just closed out here for scrap metal.
Yeah. That thing will get you. Yeah, it got me pretty good too.
Sucks to be them.
Yeah.
I've never seen.
Yeah, this burnt out Hulk has been here long enough that a tree was growing out of the bed. But this was definitely somebody's bad day. This way though. I don't know if the camera will catch it, but I hope it does a little bit. Range after range. And now we're going to go straight down into this valley off to the right. Snake our way through that way. And here we go again. There you go. And there's Lake Pleasant off in the distance. So that kind of gets you some perspective of where we're at. You do have to concentrate on this. It is a long way down. And very, very close. This is really tight quarters in here with these washout ruts. There is no room for error here. Are you kidding me? Okay. Well, let's try to straddle this. Whoa! Does not look fun at all. Had to play a little throttle rocket there. I'm glad this is downhill because I wouldn't want to try to climb out this uphill. Man, I don't like this. I do and I don't. Got two behind me too. I'm hoping they're making it okay. And we're stopping to meet up finally. Well, that's fun. Got what's left of a stone and wood building again. Now, like my last one, it's amazing. Third week of January, and look at how green the grass is. Well, that's cool.
There's more up that way, so we'll take a look. I don't see any dates. Got all sorts of corrugated tin over on in this area. Well, generally where there's a mill, there's a mine, so I just don't know how close it is and if it's even accessible. And even more further down the valley. Now, I always have to wonder if it was worth it. I know they thought it was worth it. This is big enough that it ran for a while, but this area is so remote that you actually have to get up in here and live here and work here and do the hard work with mines. And those were some tough people. Now there's 2 tanks down there, or pits, to take a look at as well. And I think that was water containers coming off the river, and I don't think the river was dammed. So, and that's the drone that's taking video of this from another perspective, from another YouTuber, and we're going to link to his a little later. So, got to make my way down there. Well, these water containers were not as deep as they looked from a distance, but they're still cool. And now it's going to be figuring out a way up to the mill from here. Deeper one, up above the other 2 that I was just at. Now we're going to make our way up to the mill. Okay, it's windy where I'm at. We're at Lehman Mill, or the remains of it. You got a really old pump motor right there. You got 2 silt-filled tanks here, trough down here. I mean, off in the distance you can see the trails cutting across and up. And there's another trail that I saw that you can see it cutting across and up. It's just that I don't, even with the drone flying around, I don't see where the mine itself was. This is still really cool, really good stuff. Definitely worth documenting before people can't get there. Looks like an old valve cover, and that's definitely an old motor. We made it. Gives me a firing order. But I don't see a make. The pan with all sorts of fittings off the bottom of it, square bolts, and this is definitely old. Well, everybody, I can honestly say I hate to see this end. It's been a great 2 days. My thanks go out to Kevin Allard and the gang from Arizona Backcountry Explorers who set this up. Our little 2-day somewhat guided tour. 50 miles of off-roading in the Bradshaws. A couple of great mine working areas. Got to sleep overnight right next to the flowing Hassayampa River. It doesn't get much better than that. So, from Lehman Mill, this is John with Retired Renegade Adventures saying thank you. If you like what you saw, please follow us, subscribe, share, and we will see you on the next adventure. Bye now.